Rise and conquer. Faith, strength, victory.
What if Jesus returned today? Would you recognize him? Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is praying for a sign. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. And the question that almost no one dares to ask is this: if that sign actually came, would we even recognize it? Or have we become so distracted, so conditioned, so skeptical that even if Jesus himself stood in front of us, we would scroll past him like just another video? Because think about it. If Jesus returned today, he wouldn't arrive in a world of silence. He would arrive in noise, endless noise, notifications, opinions, debates, millions of voices fighting to be heard. So here's the real question. In a world where everyone is speaking, would we even stop long enough to listen? And what would he look like? Not the image we grew up seeing, not the paintings, not the soft, predictable version. What if he came in a way that made people uncomfortable? What if he didn't fit the expectations people created about him? Would we follow him or reject him, just like before? Because history already gave us an answer. The first time he came, many didn't recognize him. Not because he was hidden, but because he didn't match what they wanted. So now ask yourself, have we changed? Or would we repeat the same mistake in a more modern way? What if Jesus showed up, not in a church, but on the streets? Not surrounded by perfection, but by broken people? Would people call him holy or controversial? Would he be followed or canceled? And here's something deeper. What if he didn't try to impress anyone? What if he didn't chase followers, fame, or approval? In a world obsessed with validation, how would people react to someone who doesn't need it? Would that draw us closer or push us away? Now imagine this. He speaks, not loudly, not dramatically, but with authority. The kind of authority that doesn't come from power, but from truth. Would people feel peace or feel exposed? Because truth does something uncomfortable. It reveals, it confronts, it doesn't adapt to us. It asks us to change. So the question becomes personal now. If Jesus spoke directly to you today, what would he say? Would he talk about your fears, your habits, your hidden struggles, the things no one else sees, but you know are there? And more importantly, would you listen? Or would you do what most people do today, hear and ignore, feel and scroll away, be touched for a moment, and then go back to the same life, unchanged? Because that's the world we live in, a world where everything is temporary, even emotions, even conviction. So, if Jesus returned, would his message last in people or fade like everything else? And what about belief? Today, people believe in many things: science, logic, trends, influencers. So, where would Jesus fit in that world? Would people call him truth or just another opinion? Would he go viral or be silenced? Would his words be shared or twisted? And here's the hardest question of all. Would you stand with him, even if it cost you something? Because following him today wouldn't be easy. It never was. It requires change, surrender, courage. And in a world that promotes comfort above all, how many people would actually choose that path? And maybe the biggest question isn't, would he return? Maybe the real question is, if he already spoke, are we listening? Because maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't that Jesus is silent, but that the world is too loud. So now, pause for a second. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Ask yourself honestly, if Jesus stood in front of you today, would you recognize him? Would you listen? Or would you let the moment pass like everything else? And one last question. What in your life would need to change if that moment was real? If this message made you think, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments, would you recognize him or would you miss the moment?